pleasant good morning to one and all. Pleasant Monday morning. Hope you had a wonderful weekend and hope you are looking forward to a productive week. Welcome to the Monday's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome, one and all. Today is Monday, the 27th day of May 2024. Welcome. And I say a special welcome because students would recall that on the program on last Wednesday, we had indicated that there would be no program today being a public holiday in Guyana and the U.S. In Guyana, it's the Independence 58th Independence anniversary. Yesterday was the day, but today is the public holiday. And the U.S. today is Memorial Day. So we had said no program. But subsequent events, and I speak specifically of the police release that Daral, the sex accused or the rape accused, is not going to be charged. And we thought it important that we should come out today and we should address that issue and that issue alone. So here we are, and we decided that we're going to come. We have to share. We have to discuss this matter. These things are so outrageous. We can't allow it to last another day. We felt it was so important for us to deal with it today. We couldn't wait until Wednesday. Because things are going to come up again. So share the live, let people know. This morning especially, because I think many students would have been caught off guard, having been told on Wednesday that there will be no program today. So I think it was Saturday, I put out a notification that yes, we're going to have this program. And it was scheduled about 8 o'clock this morning. So I suspect a lot of the regulars might be caught off guard. So I want you to reach out. If you see your regular colleagues are not on, reach out to them and let them know that we are on this morning to discuss the Daral rape allegation. So share the live. And I say to you again, that is even more reason. Well, I guess those who are here are not to be blamed in this regard. To subscribe, you must subscribe to the channel on YouTube and follow the page, like the page on Facebook, so you will get these notifications. Because I have been warning all along, things are going to happen and we feel compelled to come on at an unscheduled time. Today, not really an unscheduled time, but we did say that we were not going to have a program today. And that is why I encourage you all to subscribe to the channel, to like the page, and that to subscribe on YouTube and like the page. And when you subscribe on YouTube, there's a notification button that you have to hit. Once you hit the notification button, anytime anything is published on the page, you are going to get a notification. So if anything comes up suddenly, we make a late decision to have a live, you're going to get the notification. So please, and I note that many persons who are regulars have not subscribed. So you're not going to get the notification, because even if you subscribe, remember you have to hit that notification button to get notification whenever the program goes live. So yes, share. This today is a great day, Monday the 27th day of May 2024. Another day that the Lord has made, and we have to rejoice and be glad in it. Many persons would not have been this fortunate. I continue to say, and I will continue to say, it is a privilege to get up in the morning and see a new day. It is indeed a privilege, and we must give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. Many persons are not that fortunate. So yes, share. We're going to do the roll call, and then we're going to do the announcements, and we're going to go straight into that program. Straight. I want to, despite what I've said about the notification and all that a while ago, I want to compliment those of you who are on the live now, because to be honest, given the fact that we had said no program today and then we schedule it, I thought we would not have had that many students in the schoolyard. But my, so many persons came up from the time the program was scheduled. People were here. And right now we have hundreds and hundreds of persons on the live. So we thank you for your continued interest in the program. And we say this is not going to be possible without your input. So we are encouraged. And that is why we say that when you come out to give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up to show that you appreciate the efforts that we're making, because I can tell you, my colleague CC and I, CC is already in the studio waiting. We did a lot of work over this weekend to make sure that we get the facts. We get facts, we get the law, so that we can educate you, the students, as to in respect of this whole matter. So yes, share the live, share the live, share the live. We're going to do the roll call, as I've said. And after the roll call, we're going to make some brief announcements. And then we're going to rock and roll, as they say. We are going to rock and roll. We are in that mood to make sure that you get the right information, the credible information. Many times you can't listen, or you should not just go by these releases. Many of these releases are propaganda. They are propaganda. And you got to get the right and correct information. We are going to give that to you. And we always say, when we tell you about something, you would note that we give you the reference, we tell you the law, we quote the law. So you don't necessarily have to believe what we say. You get the reference, you are educated, you are intelligent people, pull it up and see for yourself what we're saying is true. So that is we're going to go through that this morning. And in terms of the roll call, where we scheduled, the first person in this morning was my squad mate, Carlton Lewis, 9430. Congratulations, Carlton, for being the first student in the schoolyard. Then we had Debbie. Then we had the man from the UK, Wayne from the UK, came in at 8:13, followed by Jakey. Jakey was so excited with cricket yesterday. He called me and we had a chat about it. We'll talk about that briefly in the announcements this morning. Then it was Joan, came in next. Joan was followed by Kenneth. And Kenneth, we know, is from Maryland. And another person from Maryland followed him, Ian Lucius. And then after that, we had Mary Smith from Brooklyn, followed by Como, 8218 Como from New Jersey. Then the man from Melanie came in, Francis. And my girl from Florida, Tessa, hi, came in. Then she was followed by Maureen. Then after Maureen, we have Magnell. Then they're saying Happy Independence Day. Yesterday was Independence Day. Today's a celebration holiday. Rastaman came next. And then we had Organized Chaos. He came in at 8:32, followed by Patricia at 8:33. Patricia is from New Jersey. Then we had Glendis. And then the man from Linden, Bartlett from up in the hills is here. And then the Sauls, Brian is here, followed by Courtney. And then we have Delta Media 9 or Delta 9 Media. And my squad mate BX from New Jersey is here. Inferno Boss came next. Then we have J Charm came at 8:29. Vernon came. Then Smitty, Vibort. There are several Viborts on, so I gotta call the surname. Vibort Smith came in at 8:41. Then we have John came next. And then after John, we have the next John. John is John Nice and John Cummins. And Sean is here. Watching from New York, ex-sergeant. Followed by Malcolm. Malcolm came in, and this is Malcolm Robinson, as you can see there. Followed by Sandra. And Sandra is telling us the holiday Monday. Grace is here. Grace, welcome, Grace. Followed by Wayne. Then we have Clive from the UK. Is in the house. Raul, followed by Jean. And Jean says she waited for the credible information. We're going to give it to you. Then Jacko from Georgia is in the house. Another person from the UK, Orin, is here. Then we have Evanlina, followed by Winston. Winston is from California. Then he was followed by Terrence. Terrence is from Canada. Aileen, the female umpire. And I saw pictures with her doing a match this weekend. Keep up the good work, Aileen. Then we have the original black man is here, followed by Colin from Queens. Then we have Lynette. And Lynette is Lynette Scotland. She's from up East Coast. We have other Lynette's on the program. George is here. Then he's from Brooklyn. Derek came after George. Then Floyd came from Brooklyn too. Ulrich, my squad mate, 9555. He is operating out of Barbados. Bonita came next. Then after Bonita, it was Rhonda. And this is Rhonda Chance. Anne came in. Then Henrik, followed by Carl, and this is Carl Johnson. Michael B is in the house. He always tell us that he's from the, British Virgin Islands. Troy was there next. Another Vibort Lawson is in the house. Lynette from the UK, and this is Lynette Fraser from the UK. She's in the house. Then Marcus, followed by Samuel, followed by Stefan Lewis. Says this very regular. 12443. Sheena, Princess Earl from Lamar Springs. Maxwell Beaton, he's been Borbis. Tilula is in the house, and he's wishing guy, and he's happy 58th anniversary. Another Vibord, John is in the house. Karen. Then out of the UK, Winston, Arthur. Then Dylan, Anthony, Roderick, and Denise is here. Denise, welcome. The secretary is here. Secretary don't ever miss. And then we have my squad mate out of Canada, Doreen. Samuel is in the house. Carl from Arizona. Then we have Gordon, is from Canada. Kerry from Maryland. Rohan is here. He's from New York. He's in Manhattan. He has at work in Manhattan. Ulrich from Crane House in Scheme. And Ulrich thought, cricket, we got to do a brief thing on it too. Then we have another Vibord. He is the man from the East Bank, Vibord White. Then another Saul, Grantley. Welcome, Grantley. He says his first time this is my first live, but he's always watching on YouTube. So welcome to the first live, Grantley. The Sauls are here in full force. Then we have the man from Texas, Everett. The man from Paris, Clifton. Then Chilo is here. Then Catherine is here. Marlin, O'Neill, and then Everett says the comment he's saying that we have a change of heart. I explained the reason why. Yeah, we did say no program today, but we have a change of heart, and here we are today. O'Neill, and then after that we have Leon. Then after Leon, who came next? Forbes. And this is interesting. Forbes says that coming in class, he never commented. He's always been in class, never commented. But he's learned a lot from these two distinguished gentlemen. Thank you, my brother. We will continue to teach. Monica came next, then Desiree, followed by Denise, followed by Colin from New Jersey, Ronald, and then we have Aubrey from Canada. Sandrine came next. And then Stafford came on YouTube. And then the last YouTuber before we went live was Ruth came in. And then when we went live, Facebookers, Edward, Brandy, Barbara, Joan, Gordon, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Lynette Goodman from Barbados. So yes, we tell you that we do this so you can see when we tell you that we have all these numbers, large numbers in the classroom rating. We are not bluffing. The figures are there for you to see. Now let me do some brief announcements, and then we're gonna go straight into birthdays. We're gonna go straight into some birthdays. Today is the birthday of Sergeant Travis Cush. Happy birthday to you, Sarge. Keep up the good work. And today is also the birthday, not a police rank, but of a cousin of mine who is, even though she might not comment in the program, I know she looks at the program all the time. Altia Harper. Today is our Altia Harper. Today is our birthday. And then we had some recent birthdays. Deputy Superintendent Elton Davidson had a birthday, 50th birthday, I think, recently. And today is, recently too, we had the birthday of Woman Assistant Superintendent Jillian Simmons. So happy birthday to those who are celebrating today and those who celebrated recently. I said we're going to talk about the cricket briefly. Yesterday we had the IPL finals, KKR and SRH, and Ulrich, Gavin and the others. I was really disappointed. Even though I was back in KKR, Calcutta Knight Riders, I was hoping for a score that will give us an exciting match. But the thing was so one-sided in the end. I suspect it might have been the most one-sided IPL final. So KKR are the champions. Sunil Narayan is the player of this the tournament, and he deserves it. Went at the top there, made a lot of runs, took a lot of wickets. So Sunil was that man. And then West Indies defeated South Africa. They had a three-match T20 in Jamaica. West Indies won the last yesterday to sweep the series. When last did West Indies sweep a T20 or any series for that matter? So things are looking up. But, as we say, let's celebrate when they do well, because they have disappointed, they have let us down so frequently that I never get my hopes up too high. When they do well, I celebrate. And then when they don't do too well, I just take my punches and I roll with it. And as we had said earlier, Independence Anniversary, 58th and Independence Anniversary to Guyanese. A lot of comments as to whether we have achieved anything in this 58 years. We're not going to deal with that on this program. And then also we have, today is Memorial Day in the U.S. and Memorial Day is set to be the official start of summer. So, Guyana gets summer and winter and all of these seasons too. But today is a Memorial Day in the U.S., a public holiday, and it is the unofficial start of the summer holiday. So, yeah, that is what we have. Let me bring in my colleague, Mr. Conway, and then we're going to go into the meat of the thing today. CC, welcome. Hope you had a restful weekend. Hope you're looking forward to a productive week. Go ahead.
Yeah, a very peaceful weekend, peaceful holiday, and happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. I wish to shout out to Elton Davison, Deputy Superintendent Davison. Friday he was 50, although I thought that he should have been at least a senior sup by now and be in charge of a division or 2IC. But I want to give him some advice in cricketing terms. Elton, a 50 is a 50, whether it's a one day, whether it's a 2020, whether or not it's a test match, whether or not it's a first class matches. But now you should realize, Elton, that you can't hit sixes and fours at will anymore. You can't do that. You gotta take singles. And remember when Laro scored his 375, he had 99 singles. And when he made 400, he had 139 singles. So my advice to you, Elton, is to bat in the crease. Don't hit across the line. You're not no Vivian Richards. Don't go over the top. You're not Carl Hooper. Don't go beating the field. You're not Brian Laro. Don't go blasting for runs. You know Vivian Richards. Well, bat in the crease. Don't mind how they're floating it up. And also, above all, protect yourself. Put on your gloves. You need to protect your fingers. As you move on to the century, you'll have much more need for your fingers. You need the fingers to hold the bat. And also, you need the fingers sometimes to store up things. So congratulations for the 50 and move on to 100, Elton.
That's good advice. That's good advice for a man who passed 50 a long time ago. A man who passed 50. So take the advice. When I get to 50, I got to reflect on the same type of advice that given to CC has given to Elton this morning. Yeah, I know Elton. Elton worked with me in Warby. He's a very good man. Very knowledgeable police. I remember one incident with Elton where Elton showed so much restraint. A man attacked Elton with a cutlass. They said this man was a kind of crazy man. Elton back and fall down in a drain. And Elton, who was armed with a .38 revolver, some other pistol, did not fire that pistol. Luckily, he did not receive any injuries or so. And many of us said, had we been in that position, we would have shot that man, we may have killed him. So that is the type of character that he is. That is the type of character. So we're saying it's a public holiday in the UK as well. So a lot of people should be on, man. Yeah, share the word. Let them know public holiday. Let's nice up this holiday. Well, it's not a nice subject, but education, it is good to know what is going on. And what I'm referring to, we had this allegation, this second rape allegation made against the former minister, Nigel Daral. If you recall, it was sometime in 2022, I think, or 23, last year, a 16-year-old indigenous girl made an allegation against him that he raped, let me use the term sodomized. I know some of you don't like hearing the word that is contained in the laws of Guyana. The laws of Guyana talks about buggery. So, and he groomed her, maybe in that order, groomed, raped, and sodomized her. Inexplicably, the DPP, in the face of all the evidence and the law, the relevant law, said that Daral would not be charged. And they said that because this 16-year-old girl said that it was in our best interest not to have the matter continue. Imagine that. The DPP of Guyana, Shalimar Alia, SC, is telling the world that a 16-year-old female who still resides with her parents can make a decision as to whether or not a matter is in our best interest. That is what the DPP said. So, all right, that matter did not go forward. We know that Daral was arrested. He turned himself in company with his lawyer. He was arrested. They say he was placed on $1 million bail, but I know no money was lodged. And we said to you here on this program, in educating you, when you hear people put on bail, sometimes a person can be put on bail and no money lodged. Just sign a recognizance and they go. So he went away and he got off almost scotch-free. There were demonstrations and a lot of protests. And eventually the president said that Daral was sent on administrative leave. Imagine a minister of the government against whom a serious allegation is made is sent on administrative leave. And then later on, they said that he was asked, or he resigned. He wasn't asked. He resigned his post as minister and as a member of parliament. That is what transpired in the first case. And I'm giving you a brief synopsis of what transpired in the first case. Now, a few weeks ago, another allegation of rape was made against him. And however, this report, or the report that was made this time, was of an incident that took place some time ago. All right. They said the police, the media people were on to the police to find out if, in fact, the report, because the lady said, Lady Hack is her name, she said that she made a report to the Kovanjan police station. And the media personnel were on trying to get from the police. They listed a lot of people in the police force that they were trying to confirm whether such a report was made. And there was silence, which forced the Guyana Press Association to issue a release lambasting the police for not providing that type of basic information, men running and hiding, just to say all the people wanted to know whether in fact a report was made at the police, because the lady had a press conference and she said a report was made. So that's all I wanted to know, and they weren't answering. And because of the press release that was issued by the Guyana Press Association, they then came out to say, well, yes, this report was made and the matter is being investigated. That is around this press conference, I'm telling you, that in which this allegation was made public was on the 10th of this month, 10th. I checked. The report, according to the lady, was made a day or two before. So it's around the 7th or 8th, 9th, sometime around then. A report was made to the police at Kovanjan about a report of rape against Daral. The media brief, virtual, was made on the 10th of this month, the 10th of May. I have said April, I mean May. Right? 10th of May, the report, the media thing. So, let me say, I wasn't surprised when on Friday last, that is Friday, May 24th, news source of Guyana, news source is Gordon Mosley, one of the more reputable and respected journalists. I say that all the time because when Gordon writes something or he gives a release, it is authentic. You can go, that is true. Many times I see other releases, I don't bother with it. But I know when Gordon and Travis Chase gave a release, yeah, it is true. So here what the release says from Gordon Mosley. Police says insufficient evidence to charge Daral with rape and sexual assault on latest allegation. And this is, I said, news source on the 24th of May. And here what the article says, I'm going to read it or part of it. The Guyana Police Force today said, based on the legal advice of its own legal advisor, Attorney Mandel Moore, there is insufficient evidence to charge former government minister Nigel Daral in relation to rape and sexual allegations that were filed against him recently by a former employee of the Ministry of Local Government. In a statement this afternoon, the police force said the legal advice provided by its in-house legal advisor was based on inconsistencies and discrepancies in the complainant's story. The police also claimed that there were also statements from several independent witnesses that totally contradicted the complainant's story, which, according to the police, included alibi witnesses who placed Nigel Daral in a different region on the date that the alleged incident occurred in September 2020. The police said statements also included, the statement also disclosed that Nigel Daral is not the owner of the house where the alleged incident occurred in January 2021, and he has no access to same. According to the police, the disclosure from the witness was provided, who provided information to the investigators, resulted in there being insufficient credible evidence and no realistic prospect of conviction in these matters. The police public relations office could not say what advice was sought from the police. Let me read that back. The police public relations office could not say why advice was sought from the police force's own legal advisor against the director of public prosecutions for such a high-profile case involving a former government official who had previously been accused of a similar crime. The 28-year woman who made the latest allegation of rape against Daral detailed her allegations of sexual assault to the media at a press conference 2 weeks ago. She held the press conference on the same day that she provided the police with her official complaint. And then they go on to tell you, in 2023, Daral was forced to resign as a member of parliament and government minister after a teenage schoolgirl filed a sexual assault complaint against him. She eventually withdrew her complaint after the matter was sent to the director of public prosecution for advice. With the complaint withdrawn, the DPP indicated that charges could not be laid against him in relation to that. That is what Gordon Mosley reported. Now, before I go any further, there are other stuff that I want to read. But let me bring in Mr. Conway, my colleague, to comment on what we have said, what I have said so far. We got a lot more to unpack, to analyze, but I'm asking him to, we're going to confine to what we have discussed so far, and then we are going to move on. CC, I know following, we had said that we were not going to have a program today, but then we decided we have to come to talk about this Daral rape allegation and the fact that the police legal advisor is saying that there should be no charge against him. What are your comments at this stage, my brother?
Well, the allegation against Daral is not no ordinary allegation, you know. Daral is a national figure. I think he, at the last PPP Congress they had, I think he came number 5th or somewhere in the line of in the line of being on the central executive, and and this is not the first allegation being made against him. Perhaps there are a lot of similar facts playing out. But the thing is that as things unfold, I think it was important, or it was very urgent, that we bring this thing to light, that we let our viewers or listeners know exactly how we feel. And then we're not saying that Daral is innocent, neither we're not saying he's guilty. We're looking at what took place, what played out with the police, and what played out with the investigations, which we will reveal later on.
Yes. And somebody's reminding me here that this is not, we talk about the rape allegation made against him by the teenage girl, this current, the recent allegation, but they reminded us that he was in the U.S. allegations of impropriety, allegations were made against him. We know he's a man who in parliament turned to a female member of parliament and told her, you want a dildo, right? And in case of you don't know, dildo is a sex toy. This is a man in parliament. A man in parliament. And when this last allegation was made, up to now, a lot of people silent, the people in the PPP, all those women in the PPP. They are silent. And let me tell you who they are. Bear with me, because I had it to talk about. Let me tell you who some of those people are. The people in the PPP. Silent. We talk about the deafening silence of the PPP. Women in the PPP in particular, those women in government. Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Gail Teixeira. Minister of Education, Priya Manik-Chan. Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Vidya Prasad. Minister of Amerindian Affairs, Pauline Sukai. Minister of Housing and Water, Susan Rodriguez. Minister of Local Government, Sonia Parag. Then you have Minister of Tourism, Onij Waldron. And well, Waldron has proven to be a liar. So you don't expect anything from her. And then I had a note too to say, you have a man who calls himself a bishop. Ejil, all of them silent in the wake of all these the allegation against Nigel Damla, the second rape allegation. Because the one in US wasn't a rape, and then he had other issues where he pulled gun upon you some UNDP personnel and all of that. So I'm saying that the silence of all of these people, I noted too that a group came out, compliments to them, a group of, I think, 27 women and others, individuals, and a group came out and they wrote a letter calling on action to be taken. Well, the action that they took is to say insufficient evidence, which we will go into as we go along. We're going to go into that too as we go along. Now, let me say this. The fact that and it is alluded to in the release from Gordon, the fact that the police legal advisor, Mandel Moore, came out with a statement, I believe, it is my view, that is an attempt to shelter the Director of Public Prosecutions, to shelter. Because she, having decided on the last case that there should be no charge against him, Daral, it is my view that they are of the view that issue should come out this time again and say no charge against him. They're going to be a public outcry, public uproar. So they use Mandel Moore, who incidentally has absolutely no authority to pronounce on the whether there's charge or not. And I'm going to read the law to you. Mandel Moore, the police legal advisor, has absolutely no legal authority to say that charges should not be filed under this Sexual Offences Act. I will read that to you in a short while to let you see what is going on. But let me unpack this thing a little more, and then I'm going to bring in CC. The first thing that struck me, and I want you to understand this, is that this report against the latest report against Damlal was made around the 10th of May 2024. And on the 24th of May 2024, the police, through the legal advisor and through the corporate communications unit, that propaganda unit, telling the public that they did such a thorough investigation in that 2 weeks' time that there is insufficient evidence. That is what they're telling us, that the report was made around the 10th of May, and they can conclude by the 24th of May that there is insufficient evidence to charge Damlal. And let me remind you too, that one of their colleagues, have it here, you remember? The Sergeant Vaughn was shot and killed on the, I think it's on the 12th of March. And until now, they can't tell us what is the position with that investigation. One of their colleagues, the sergeant, shot and killed, they say, by friendly force. Since March, 12th of March, we're in May. They can't tell us what is the position with that matter, but they can investigate a report of rape against Nigel Damlal. This report made around the 10th of May, and by the 24th of May, they can conclude that there is insufficient evidence to bring a charge against Nigel Damlal. Well, let me tell you what happened there, and I'm going to explain why I'm saying this. The police did not conduct, based on what they're saying, because remember they're talking about the credibility of the witnesses or the statement. So therefore, they did not conduct an investigation. If Mandel Moore is telling us about inconsistencies in statement and all of those type of things, they don't conduct an investigation. What they conduct is a trial. Because when you are doing an investigation, some of the things that they reveal here is not when you're doing an investigation, you collect statements, you collect other evidence, you put together a file, and then it is analyzed, and you decide to charge or not. Well, some of the things that they are telling here about the credibility and all of those things are determined by the court. Credibility has to be determined by the court, where they got the person who gave the evidence is going to be cross-examined, and based on demeanor and based on that, the court determines whether the witness is credible or not. Not the police investigator, not Mandel Moore. Not Mandel Moore. And I said, before I bring in back Mr. Conway, let me tell you what the law says in relation to this. And I'm talking here, I have it right here. I have it here before me. The Sexual Offences Act of 2010. And it was assented to by Bharat Jagdeo, President, on May 24, 2010, 24th of May, 2010. The Sexual Offences Act. Let me show you the first part as it relates to investigation. Here, what the Sexual Offences Act says here, folks, in relation to investigation. Then we're going to bring in Mr. Conway. This is part 3. And again, you can go and read it for yourself. So just in case Mandel Moore, the police legal advisor, did not read it, I'm telling him this is contained in the Sexual Offences Act of 2010, assented to on the 24th of May, 2010 by President Bharat Jagdeo. I hear what it says. In terms of investigation, that's section 41. And let me read subsection 1. Where an offense under this act is reported to the police shall, in every case, record the report and conduct an investigation. 2, within 3 months of the complaint being made under section 1, A charge shall be laid in respect of the report, or the file relating to the report and investigation shall be sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions. Let me go back that. Yes, Everett. Everett said I wanted to take off duty. Everett said all this information I wanted to take off duty. Now again, Everett saying, and I make sure that the word shall is highlighted. Where an offense under this act, we're talking about the Sexual Offences Act 2010. Where a report is made to the police shall. I'm sure Mandel Moore would have gone to school, law school that day, when they would have lectured what shall mean. In law, shall is compulsory, is mandatory. He say may and he say shall. If you say may, well then you have little wiggle room. But once the word tell you shall, you are compelled to do that. The police shall, in every case, record the report and conduct an investigation. Then it said within 3 months of the complaint being made, right? The police made under subsection 1, a charge shall, again, mandatory. A charge shall be laid in respect of the report. And this B applies to this nonsense from Mandel Moore telling people. If you don't charge, what they're saying that if you don't charge within 3 months, the file relating to the report and investigation shall be sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions for advice. And based on what we're hearing here, this file has never gone to the Director of Public Prosecution for advice, in keeping with the Sexual Offences Act of 2010. So Mandel Moore, you have absolutely no authority to tell the police that what we say, insufficient evidence. The law mandates that when this report is made, the investigation, you're saying that the investigation is completed, then the law says you have to send it to the DPP. So you are trying to shelter the DPP, but the law mandates under the Sexual Offences Act that at this stage, once the file shall be sent to the DPP for advice. So I am hoping that, well, I know the lawyers and so on around, not Mandel Moore, he didn't go to law school, he didn't attend classes that day, right? But for him to tell us now, based on what the release is, that there's insufficient evidence, he has absolutely no authority to say so. What he has to do, and this I'm telling you what, I'm telling in his work, what he has to do if he believes that there's insufficient evidence, he has to put that in the file. He has to put his comments in the file and send it on to the DPP. Let me repeat, Mandel Moore. If you feel as a police legal advisor, having perused that file, there is insufficient evidence, it's not for you to pronounce whether they should be charged or not. You have to now put your comments, your views in writing and send it to the DPP for legal advice. The DPP constitutionally is the only one who can say whether this a charge should be filed against Daral or not. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we can go on a little later because we have much more to talk about. CC, so far, your views on what I've said, and you want to expand, you want to add anything, please go ahead.
Well, I just want to support you. The action taken by Mandel Moore, it's null and void, and it has no legal effect. The law is clear that the file must be sent to the DPP for advice, and he can't stop it there. All he's trying to do is shelter the DPP. He can't shelter the DPP. He doesn't have the authority. The law is clear. And then when they said the matter must be investigated, Daral liar said that Daral was interviewed at Coven John. He was interviewed at Coven John. So I know what's going on, but the action by Mandel Moore is totally unconstitutional, and he has no authority. And then I wonder, DPP office is a stone throw away from the CID quarters. I wonder why there's need for a police legal advisor there. They should have easy access to the office of the DPP. Just walk over and get advice, walk with the file and get advice, person made available to them. I can remember when I used to prosecute in court, I had access to the DPP. I used to walk into his office and discuss matters, and he was always available. So I don't see why they wasn't for bridge the gap between the police at CID headquarters and the DPP. I left that open and let things flow. And as you rightly say, if Mandel Moore believe that things are inconsistent and irrelevant, all he has to do is put his comments and send it to the DPP for the DPP to deal with it. But no, he took up the role of the DPP and did something which is unconstitutional.
Now, let me say this, CC. I mean, as senior police officers, I'm of the view that, yes, there's a role for the police legal advisor. We have had legal advisors over the years, including retired Judge Claudette Singh. They're to advise the police when you're doing an investigation, to advise you during the course of the investigation. You may need to clear up this. You may need to get a statement from this person and that type of thing, right? And then they might advise you to whether you should charge or not based on the evidence. They go through that. But the Sexual Offences Act of 2010 makes it clear, Section 41 says clearly that when this investigation is done, you either charge within 3 months, or if you don't charge within 3 months, you then have to send the file to the DPP for advice. That is mandated in the Sexual Offences Act. So whereas in other matters, Mandel Moore and whoever is the legal advisor can say yes, charge or not to charge. But in this particular act, it states clearly in Section 41 that the police legal advisor has no such authority, has no such discretion to determine charge or not to charge. That has to go to the DPP. And we're saying they're trying to shelter the DPP, and they get this seemingly incompetent attorney that they call the police legal advisor to come and to say that insufficient evidence. That gotta be incompetence, because I can understand that if he didn't know, well, he didn't read this law, Section 41, he didn't read Section 41. Or let me read something else before I bring thing. Let me read something else. And this is they say interesting legal opinion by Ryan Crawford, attorney at law. We know Ryan, a man who like to use a colorful language, and he used it in this release of thing. He said a disclaimer, started off disclaimer. I don't give a flying F about your politics. And he didn't say F, he used the word. I don't give a flying F about your politics. This is a legal post. As for news report on a certain alleged rape, I noticed they said not sufficient corroboration, inconsistencies, etc., and therefore no charge as advised by the police legal advisor. The police legal advisor can't tell anyone whether to charge anyone under the Sexual Offences Act. Section 41 said the file shall go to the DPP for advice. Stop this. He says stop this con. And Section 69, we're going to go into Section 69 in a short while. And Section 69 does not require corroboration. He said, I am pissed because God knows how many other cases the files never made it to the DPP and people were charged or were not charged. This country justice system is shit, I swear. That is what a lawyer wrote over the weekend. That is what a lawyer wrote over the weekend. And then to go further, to continue there, they're saying about corroboration. In other words, they tell you, oh, they interviewed witnesses and the witnesses put you in some other position. Well, I shouldn't say position, because if it's a rape allegation, you talk about position, people might assume that you're talking about sexual positions. Put him at another location. They put him at another location. That is what they're saying. But remember, again, this law is so draconian that the law says that there is no need for corroboration. In other words, you ain't gonna forget nobody for support your story. Nobody. And here, let me put up Section 69. Hear what Section 69 says. Section 69 of the Sexual Offences Act, same act we're talking about, they said no corroboration of the evidence of the complainant or the sworn or unsworn evidence of a child shall be required for a conviction of an offense under this act. And the judge shall not direct the jury that it is unsafe to find the accused guilty in the absence of corroboration. So I want to get out like Ryan Crawford, but this is not them program them though. What did so-and-so Mandelmore telling people? What did so-and-so about corroboration? Because that's what they're saying. Our story wasn't supported by these people who they interviewed, and they put Daral at a different location, and all of that they're telling us. The law says there is no need for corroboration, and therefore, in this case, once the report has been made, once the statement is provided by the victim, that may very well be sufficient for you to bring a charge. That may very well be sufficient. But they didn't do that, and as we said, they didn't do no investigation. They conduct an inquiry because they are talking about the credibility of witnesses and inconsistencies. Them things for the inquiry. Them things for inquiry. Those things are for an inquiry. Those things are for an inquiry, not for Mandelmore and the police to decide. Especially, we're talking here specifically in relation to the Sexual Offences Act. That is what it says. It says that once a complaint is made, you have to investigate, collect statements and all of that. And it is saying you investigate and you can charge. It gives you the authority, according to the act, it gives the police the authority to charge without reference to the DPP. So you're charged within 3 months. And then it says that if you don't charge within 3 months, then you have to send the file to the DPP for legal advice. Let me put that back up again, so people can show Mandelmore what the law says. Let me put it up here again. Here what it says again, right? It's saying 4.1, where an offense under this act is reported to the police shall, in every case, record the report and conduct an investigation. So once the report is made, crime book, you record the report in your crime book. And again, we explained to you that at the station, the person who go there, the person who's taking the report might not be someone who's capable or competent to write in the crime book. So they write in the occurrence book, or they even write in the diary, and then the more experienced people are going to transfer it to the crime book because a crime is being reported. You put it in the crime book. So you make the report in the crime book, and you have to conduct an investigation. You have to conduct not an inquiry, you conduct an investigation. And here what section 2 says, within 3 months of the complaint being made under this section, a charge shall be laid in respect of the report. And B, the file relating to the report and investigation shall be sent. So within, I might have interpreted this thing a little wrong in a while ago, but it's saying that within these 3 months, a charge shall be laid and the file relating to the report and investigation shall be sent to the Director of Public Prosecution for advice. So within 3 months, you have to do all of that. Not for Mondale Moore to tell us that there is no, no credible evidence to charge. And again, yes, Carl, imagine that a report made on around the 10th of May, and the police can tell us on the 24th of May, just 14 days after, that they conducted an investigation and there's insufficient evidence to charge Daral. Let me bring in Mr. Conway again. CC?
Yeah, and the law of corroboration, and corroboration is evidence that strengthens the principal evidence, the primary evidence. And I listened to the victim, I think we all listened to her. And she gave, or she stated very clearly that Daral forced her and that he penetrated her. She's saying he used his fingers and he used his mouth on her vagina and her anus. That's what she said. I wasn't there. I wasn't in bed. That's exactly what she said. So while they're jumping about the place and looking for corroboration, and then some of the things that went wrong, they've mentioned that that was in another region. You could be in region 9 now, and by tonight you're in region 2, where it alleged that one of the offenses took place. And did they do proper investigation? Perhaps they followed the Attorney General and they rushed with breakneck speed. Did anybody check the Transport and Harbor Department to see if Daral traveled his vehicles? Did they check Porica? Did they check Supernam? Did they check with the airlines? Daral could have been at Corriverton right now, and by tonight he's there in his scribble. So this nonsense, what they're saying that they're looking for alibi. What alibi? Listen to the woman's story, but they're trying to negative or story that Daral been in another region, been elsewhere. Where is the evidence? Where is the supporting evidence to prove that? Huh? Did they have that? They don't do no thorough investigation. This thing is of national importance, and they called for thorough investigation. Daral is a top-notch man. The PPP party of the highest decision making forum. Daral is there, and we need to have proper investigation. They don't do no kind of investigation, eh? And they talk about inconsistencies and so. Tell us, what are the inconsistencies? Let us know clearly. The whole thing is I would say hogwash. No proper investigation being done, Paul.
No proper investigation. Let me say this again, for the benefit of all the students, perhaps even for Mondale Moore. And this is according to the Sexual Offences Act. They said no corroboration is needed. Therefore, once you took a detailed statement from that complainant, Ms. Hack, as to what transpired, you took a detailed statement from her. That in itself may be sufficient to bring a charge. Because they said you don't need corroboration. That is what the law is saying, you don't need corroboration. And whether she is telling the truth or she's not telling the truth, that is not for the police to determine. That is for a court to be determined, to determine. That is for the court to determine. And in this case, not even the magistrate court, because the same Sexual Offences Act say that, look, this thing is paper committal. You don't have to have a preliminary inquiry. You do a paper committal, and a judge and jury, Daram Lal's guilt or innocence has to be determined, should be determined by 12 of his peers. I don't know if you can find the peers are wrong, but I use the term peers in the law. But I don't think you can find 12 persons who are despicable as he is. And this is not, remember, this is not a one-time thing, you know. This is not an isolated case. This is a case where it shows a pattern of behavior. A pattern of behavior. And I'm saying again, the report is made, a statement is taken from her, and again, Mr. Conway is correct, because they go on to say, I'm going to analyze that here. Let me do it. They say the legal advice said that based on the fact that there were several inconsistencies and discrepancies in the complainant story. What inconsistencies and discrepancies? What inconsistencies and discrepancies? And then they go on to say there were also statements from several independent witnesses that totally contradicts the complainant's story. In other words, they were looking for corroboration, and the law says there's no need for corroboration. These include alibi witnesses who placed Daram in a different region on the date that the alleged incident occurred. What balderdash is that? What balderdash is that? Daram can be in 4 or 5 regions the same day, including the region where the allegation is made, or the allegation of rape took place. He can be in several. He can be in Essequibo. He can be in West Demerara. He can be in Georgetown. He can be in Bob. He can be in all of those places. In other words, he could have raped the woman in one region and find himself in, well, either before or after, in other places in different regions. So when they're telling us that alibi witness who placed Daram Lal in a different region on the date that they elect, not them, you know. Again, I tell you all, you all got to analyze these things carefully. They say on the date, they don't tell you about time. This rape is alleged to have been committed at a particular time, and they're telling us that this included witnesses who placed Daram Lal in a different region on the date that the alleged incident occurred in September 2020. Yeah, you're in a different region on the date. Well, what time this thing happened? You could have done your nastiness at a particular time, and then you're there all over the place. You're gonna go, or if it's, let's say, I think this thing was alleged to have committed during the course of the night. He could have been at 4 or 5 different regions during the course of the day and find himself in this place in the night and committed the act. So when they tell us these things, we got to analyze and bring it to your attention. There's a statement also disclosed that Daram Lal is not the owner of the house where the alleged incident occurred in January 2021, and he has no access to SAFE. He has no access to SAFE. Again, English language, we were taught to do statement analysis. I did that at the FBI Academy. Statement analysis. And then what the statement is saying. Statements also disclose that Nigel Daram Lal is not the owner of the house where the alleged incident occurred in January 2021, and he has no access to SAFE. So what you're saying? He got to be the owner of the house in order to have access? And he say he has. In other words, currently, he has. Then say he never had. Statement analysis. They're saying that he has no access to SAFE. So in other words, he ain't got no access now. He ain't on the house, he ain't access now. But in 2021, when this incident is alleged to have committed, he could have very well had access to it at that time. He could have very well had access to it at that time. And then when you analyze it for you, these disclosures, among others, resulted in there being insufficient credible evidence and no realistic prospect of conviction in these cases. The cybercrime, the Sexual Offences Act, Mandelmoore, ain't talking about that. Ain't talking about a rough piece of legislation, I will agree. That is what the law is. You can't legislate from the office of the police legal advisor at police headquarters or wherever you are located. You can't legislate from there. You're not a legislator. And then hear what Mandelmoore said, the police legal advisor. And I find this very laughable. In keeping with the code of prosecutors, a case which does not pass the evidential stage, this evidential stage, must not proceed, no matter how serious or sensitive it may be. What nonsense you talk about? I want to get like Crawford and say, what is so-and-so you're talking about? There are numerous cases. I have personal experience in that, where there's not an iota of evidence. That is what the magistrate said on the 27th of December when she delivered her verdict in the conspiracy to commit fraud. Not an iota of evidence. And persons were charged, including myself and 8 others, were charged with conspiracy to commit fraud. So where this code of ethics wasn't enforced then, Mandelmore, this code of ethics wasn't enforced at that time. What happened to all the matters that are being thrown out on no case submission in the court? In other words, the court is saying you don't have any case. Some of them gone all the way to the High Court and they're being thrown out. No evidence. What happened to the case where a man spent 6 years, a policeman spent 6 years on remand for murder, and then they dropped the charges and reinstate him in the force? What happened? This code of prosecutors was not in place at that time. I want to know. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, man. Because I getting worked up. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. Go ahead, CC.
For us, Mandel Moore now from the code of conduct for prosecutor. Maybe he dusted out and he did some amendments to favor Daral. You know, and as you said, Paul, so many cases, are they past the evidential stage? When they're dismissing left, right, and center at no case submission, last week 2 more cases go down the drain. So we're really more is saying, you know, that if you look at it, a whole lot of cases going down the drain at no case submission stage. If I go to Suku has not yet successfully go to trial with anybody with a charge. Anyone and get a conviction. They have not gone to trial. And all finishing at no case submission. The only one that didn't finish at no case submission is when Nanlal, when the magistrate said a prima facie case has been made out against Nanlal for thief in law books. And he jumped to the court and the court shut him down. The court shut him down. That's and he wait till the government change and get the politically directed DPP to null pros the matter. And getting back to this case, you know, the investigations, did they take the Transport and Harbor Department team if nonetheless private vehicle or vehicle assigned to him pass through those locations either to or from Essequibo during the period of time? And also I think there's a booking arrangement. Did they check that? Huh? Did they check with the speedboat and all? Can this thing have to do proper investigation? And then you're talking about weaknesses in the independent witness. How you turn witnesses as being independent? I would say most likely they are a witness of convenience. A witness of convenience, not independent witness. So don't come and tell me the truth, but a witness is independent witness. You don't have to get that. And before we lose focus, let me go back and say, according to the law, Sexual Offences Act, what really is rape? Let's refocus on that. Section 3.1 saying a person, in bracket the accused, commits rape if A, the accused engages in sexual penetration with another person, the complainant, or 2, causes the complainant to engage in sexual penetration with a third person, and B, complainant does not consent to the penetration, and the accused does not reasonably believe that the complainant consents. And I always saying that rape is forceful, unlawful, carnal knowledge. And I listened to the woman's story, the complainant, where those elements were there in her statement. And you gotta get corroboration for that. Those elements were there. She's saying he forced her. She's saying it was unlawful because she did not consent. And then she said that he penetrated her. He used his fingers. He used his mouth. And let me tell you what's penetration. According to the same Sexual Offences Act, Section 2N, penetration means any intrusion over a slight or for over shorter time of any part of a person's body or any object into the vagina or anus of another person, and any contact, however slight or for however short a time, between the mouth of one person and the genitals or anus of another, including but not limited to sexual intercourse, cunnilingus, telefalito, and annual intercourse, female to female genital contact, and A, where the penetration by the penis, the emission of seminal fluid is not necessary to prove penetration. Penetration is continued act from entry to withdrawal. And let me try to explain some of it. They're saying, some men they say you gotta break. You gotta break before, but they say no, 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 no. And it's saying that the penetration, however slight it be, however slight it be. I remember when I was a trainee, and my sergeant, the Sergeant Bunyan, was teacher's rape, and he used to say even 1/64 of an inch penetration is enough. So the thing is that not only the male, no, you use the organ, but any part of your body or any instrument, including the part the parliament instrument that talk about, the dildo that it told a woman who was a married woman that she need. Even you use that, anything that you use, your finger, your mouth, anything is rape. So what are trying for cooperate? What they want cooperation? The woman is making her story clear. I wasn't there, but the story is clear. Let it go. Let a proper investigation be done, and don't try to negative our story, but asking for cooperation. The law said you don't have to get cooperation.
And if they want cooperation, like the one of the students, we said we get bright students here, bright students. Somebody talk about telephone records. So you said Darmlal was in a different region. Now, I am sure that if you did a proper investigation, you'd have gone to the telephone companies, and they would have been able to give you information printouts as to where Darmlal was at various times on those days, because the telephone records are something that would normally give people away. So all them towers and so on. So if he was in Essequibo, there would be a record at a particular time a call was made, or you received a call. Well, he was in Essequibo at a particular time. He was in West Demerara, that was and different locations in Essequibo too, based on the routing of the conversation through these towers. So if you're talking about investigation, all of those things that you ought to have done, you ought to have gone to the telephone company and asked for records, subpoena them to get records, go to court, get them to, and subpoena the records from the telephone company, because those records are there. And they would have been able to tell you that on such and such a date, this phone issued to Darmlal, because I don't think he had all the sense to use somebody else's phone on that day. He would have used his telephone. They would have a record of the telephone number, and they would be able to tell you way back that on this day, this phone received a call in Georgetown, a specific location in Georgetown, then West Demerara at a specific time, then maybe Essequibo Coast at a particular time, wherever it was. Mark, they would have ping. The ping, you call it the telephone, when it pings in the towers, they have a record. That is how they charge you, if they got to charge you long distance or whatever they charge you, because that record is maintained. So what they're telling us about investigation, I don't know investigation. This was a cover-up from the outset. And I said, if I were a betting man today, well, nobody would have taken the bet, because I would have told them exactly this would have happened, this crystal ball. But I didn't expect Mandel Moore. I expect the DPP. But they're trying to shield the DPP. So they say, all right, Mandel Moore, let me show you this. I am saying this here now, having regards to the law. having regards to what Mandelmore advised the police. The lawyer or lawyers representing Ms. A should file a private criminal charge against Daral of rape. Let me repeat that. They should file a private criminal charge because it seems as though they're trying to shelter the DPP, which is contrary to the Sexual Offences Act. File the private criminal charge and put you on the spot. Let she discontinue a private criminal charge. Don't worry with this nonsense that Mandelmore talk here. Attorneys, file the private criminal charge of rape against Daral, and let the DPP intervene as she has done on numerous occasions in recent times in particular, and discontinue. Put you on the spot. Put you on the spot. Let the CNN, who carried the initial report, CNN Newswork, the world famous CNN, let them know what the police legal advisor Mandelmore has said. Write to all the high commissions and all the embassies, all the diplomatic agencies. Let them know that contrary to the law, this is what the police legal advisor Mandelmore is saying, that insufficient evidence. Comrade, you got to put these people on the spot. You got to be a little bit more aggressive. Just sitting back and complaining, oh, Mandelmore do this, the DPP did that. No. Up to now, people can't tell me. When I mentioned a few programs ago that the Constitution says that the Judicial Service Commission is responsible for disciplining the DPP. Let me repeat that. That's what the Constitution says. That the Judicial Service Commission, one of its responsibilities is to discipline the Director of Public Prosecutions. This Director of Public Prosecutions needs to be disciplined. And therefore, I said before, I'm repeating it here now, I don't know what is the process to initiate that action. Whether citizens have to make a complaint, I don't know what the process is. But if it continues like this, people should get together, either individuals or groups. You got to get together and deal with this thing. The liars that we have should go and challenge this, file complaints against the DPP to the Judicial Service Commission. You had a case where the Caribbean Court of Justice had to rebuke the DPP. Not once, more than once. You have so many cases where people are charged and the people are on remand for 5-6 years, and then no case submission, the matter's gone. You have the case that I referenced earlier where policeman 6 years in jail for murder, and then the DPP discontinue the matter. We have the case, the matter as you came out caught on tape, where this man shooting up all over the place, shoot people, and the DPP writes to the magistrate that the case should be discontinued. You have all of these things that I refer to as misconduct in public office, and nothing is being done. Nothing is being done. Other people are being charged for misconduct in public office for far less than what the DPP is doing. I want to know, and I'm going to make inquiries, what is the process to have the Judicial Service Commission deal with the Director of Public Prosecution. It is time. It is time. It's time we stop talking. We are talking too much. It is time we stop talking and take action. And next thing that I want to mention here before I bring back CC in, when the complaint was made by Ms. Ack at Covan John Police Station, she complained about the rapes, and she complained about cyberbullying and cybercrime. They have not told us anything about that part of it. So, Mandelmore, what is the position with the complaint about cyberbullying made against Daral? I recall not so long ago, Sheriff Duncan was charged with cyberbullying, some cybercrime, where he called a man a trench crapper. He called a man a trench crapper, and the police charged him with cyberbullying. We had the case of Member of Parliament Annette Ferguson, who made some comment against the current Chief of Staff, Brigadier Omar Khan. And she ended up before the court because the Chief of Staff of the Guided Defense Force, Brigadier Khan, you know what he said? He said the complaint caused him emotional distress. This is the Chief of Staff of your army. An army that is facing challenge, serious challenge from neighboring Venezuela, all the aggression from neighboring Venezuela, and you have the Chief of Staff is a complainant in a matter where he says that he was emotionally disturbed because a member of parliament made some statement that he claimed was wrong, erroneous. The chief of staff experienced emotional distress and the person was charged. So in this case, Ms. Ack made complaints about cyberbullying. And they told us about the rape, not insufficient evidence. What happened to the cyberbullying charge? Again, I am saying to the lawyers who, liars who represent Ms. Ack, file private criminal charges against Daral and let the DPP discontinue as she did with the one where the liar is said to have spat on the policewoman. Remember, private criminal charges were filed against the crime chief, not crime chief, Blanham, in the Bascom case. The DPP discontinued. Cybercrime charge was filed against so many persons, or other charges were filed against so many persons, and the DPP intervened and discontinued. Give her the opportunity to do so again. Give her the opportunity to discontinue, file the private criminal charges, because you hear what the police say. So even though the law gives the police 3 months to conclude the investigation and charge and send to legal advice, in 2 weeks, they have concluded that not insufficient evidence. You have enough grounds here to say, well, you can't wait on the system any longer. Can't write into the DPP now for to review. That makes no sense to me. You have got to go ahead and file the private criminal charges against Nigel Daral for cyberbullying and for all of those things. Let me bring in back Mr. Conway. CC?
Yeah, Paul. You know, according to the release that we have from the police, they talk about inconsistency and discrepancy. Mondale Moore should tell us what are the inconsistencies, what are the discrepancies. Let it be known. And then the victim has another alternative. I remember Henry Green when he was charged, when the same DPP recommended that he get charged with a rape. He got wink and he rushed to the High Court. I think it was Ian Chang. And for the DPP to say, and the Ian Chang said the DPP must come and say why she advised that Henry Green must be charged with rape. So let she come and say why she advised the police that Henry Green get charged with rape. She didn't go. She sent junior people, and Henry Green was not charged. On the flip side of it now, this woman here who making the allegation against Daral, perhaps she could file a similar thing, a case like that, for Mondale Moore to say why he advised the police not to charge Daral. For him to say why he advised the police not to charge Daral. It would be very, very interesting. So she has other options. I agree with the option that you mentioned, that private criminal charge. But this one also is another one that maybe she need to look at.
Except CC Mondale Moore has absolutely no legal authority to give such a direction. That's what the law says. Mondale Moore, again, let me repeat, Mondale Moore is a police legal advisor. The Sexual Offences Act mandates that once a report is made under that act, the police shall investigate and they shall institute a charge within 3 months, or they shall send the file to the DPP for legal advice. So Mondale Moore is not the DPP. Mondale Moore can't determine that there is insufficient evidence to charge. Mondale Moore has absolutely no such authority under the Sexual Offences Act. Let me make that clear. Other acts, whether it's the Criminal Law Offences Act or Summary Jurisdiction Act or whatever it is, he has that authority. But this Sexual Offences Act is clear that only the DPP, the matters must go to the DPP. They say shall. It must go to the DPP for advice if you don't charge within 3 months. It must go. And they have other aspects of the act where they talk about disciplining police ranks and all of that. So it must go. Mondale Moore has absolutely no such authority that he claimed. And remember, it's not Mondale Moore said, it's the police said that Mondale Moore said. We got to be careful, It's not Mondale Moore said. It's not Mandelmore. The police issue a release to say Mandelmore say. Now, I know liar, but in the absence of Mandelmore denying what is attributed to him, well, then you have to assume that, yes, he did say that. I know liar, I know liar, but I've been to school and I attended some good police colleges and so on, and I get a little police training. And the training you get, even though I retired many, many years ago, 14 years ago, the training remains with you. The training remains. So Mandelmore has no authority to comment or to deal with this. Again, what you got to do, the police put out a file. He, as a police legal advisor, can peruse the file and he can feel that there's insufficient evidence, but he has to put that in writing and send it to the DPP. And the DPP is the one who has to make that final decision. When I said that decision, because our decision too can be challenged in the court, as in the case with Henry Green, referenced a while ago by my colleague, Mr. Conway. So, folks, let me tell you this. And today is a public holiday in Guyana, in the US, and we understand too in the UK. We give you all a lot to chew, and I hope that tomorrow, the first working day after this release from the police, that the liars will get up and get. The liars, I expect, will get up and deal with this matter. We can't allow these things to continue. Back in 2021, to be specific, on the 29th of June 2021, the Attorney General Muabir Anil Nandlal, SC, MP, on his program Issues in the News, I think is the name of the program, on NCN, he made a statement that people like me and Conway have no place in a society governed by the rule of law. That is what, I know the quotation good, I have memorized the quotation. Nandalal, Ceslo and Conway, and you refer to others, have no place in a society governed by the rule of law. That's what Nandalal said. The man who was accused of thieving law books. Said so. So what happened to Daral? What happened to Daral? He ain't got no place in any society, whether it's governed by the rule of law or not. A despicable character. And again I say, he's number 6 in the party, PPP, at the last Congress. The PPP, pedophiles, perverts, predators, and corruption. Let me repeat that. PPP stands for pedophiles. That is people who interfering them, not for them interfere with them little girls, including one who is accused of impregnating. He held that same position that Daral held. Was a minister accused of impregnating a little indigenous girl. So he's a pedophile. He's a pedophile. You have another pedophile who was alleged to have solicited sex. This is I was attempting male. One of them in between. You remember the Julia story? Caught on tape. He denied it. He said the voice is not his. Caught on tape, soliciting sex from a young boy. Pedophile. You have these perverts, many of them. Some of the things they do are perverted. Then you have the predators. I understand from reliable sources that they go and they prey on these young Amerindian girls in particular, the indigenous girl in those regions. They go and they prey on them. There was a story reported some time ago where some of them one of the coordinators in the region went to these girls' parents, tell them they have to go to some meeting with somebody, carry them there. They kept them there for the night. These people kept them there for the night. These predators kept them there for the night. And then when the person was dropping them back home the next morning, he can't carry them to the parents. He dropped them somewhere for them to walk, all bloodied and all of that. They have to walk and go home. Right? So that's why you have the predators, and you have the corruption. Even that one who comes every Thursday, Tanti Moral. I understand, I was reading this morning editorial. He talking about corruption in the Public Procurement Commission. Corruption. You have Sue-gate, where Sue alleges or alleged in the Vice News report that the Vice President, Barra Jagdeo, there's the allegation made against him, collecting 500,000 from Chinese businessmen for do business. Some administration fee. In his dressing, in his living room, the tape is there. And he is on tape telling the people them that Sue does that side of the business and he deal with the government aspect. Those things are on tape. Corruption. So again, the PPP are you have a lot of pedophiles, perverts, predators, and corruption. And don't forget what GHK Lal said. Let me read it again. I'm going to read it steady. GHK Lal said, what we have today is not a government, but a gang of gangsters. For the most part, what Guyanese are for leaders today are nothing but out-of-control lunatics, pathological liars, unreconstructed racists, and political sadists. And then he goes on to say the UNHCR exposed all this in one fell swoop. And he says, unless stopped, the government will drown Guyana with it in its long descent, as its long descent begins. Again, this matter with Daral must be highlighted internationally. Well, somebody said the sea is corruption, the sea is criminals too. Yes, I agree, Mark. Sea can be criminals as well. They have so many of them in the thing. And coming back to this matter with Mandel Moore, I mean, I am not Donald Trump, so I am not going to comment on matters that are before the court, right? I respect the system. And I know from personal experience, you get matter before the court, where no evidence, personal experience. In other words, I am before the court where there's no evidence, and Mandel Moore come to talk this nonsense here. I remember the same Mandel Moore, the man shared the order arrested, Y'all remember that? Order arrested in the Bascom case when she had ordered him to produce some document by a particular time, and then he turned up without the document. And the magistrate tell the police to take him away, put lock up, and then they come back and say he wasn't arrested. All that crap, the road. Remember that? Yeah, I'm gonna remind you. I'm gonna do the research and give you all the details at a later stage. So again, I say tomorrow. I don't know if you should wait until tomorrow, but even now, letters should have been gone. Letters should have gone out of the place, right to the embassies, right to the commissions, right, send update CNN on what transpired in this matter, right to the United Nations, this same UNHCR people. All right, we got to get active. You got to write. You got to write. You got to find out what we have to do to get the DPP to face disciplinary hearings in front of the Judicial Service Commission. We have to do these things. We cannot allow this breakdown to continue. The system broke up. This is a real animal farm. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. Daral seems to enjoy more equality than all others, with all of these allegations against him. And then one thing, the first time, the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecution, says that, well, she's reported to have said that a 16-year-old female decided that it was in our best interest not to continue this matter. Sometimes, you wonder how these people are asleep. How do they sleep when the night comes? I want to know if they got children, if they got young family. I want to know if they, although all of these females are called earlier, Gail Teixeira and Priya Manikchan and all them, would they, even though Daral is a comrade, would they feel comfortable leaving any one of the young male or female in the presence of Daral? Would they feel comfortable? Would they themselves feel comfortable being in a room alone with Daral? Because the man get kinna, Guyana said the man get kinna. The man gonna eat anything. The man eating anything. Because according to Misak, she walk into the place and then the man choke she down and the man start to eat. The man start to bite. He performed oral sex on her. Nasty big man. You know where she come from. Nasty big man. You know where she come from. That is what the lady claiming that he did. So we have got to make sure that these things are dealt with. All of them. How do they sleep when the night come? Many of them, they go to the churches, they go to the mosque, they go to the temples, and they sit down and say they're praying. Long ago, them old time people say when they believe in things, when they so they call God name, thunder roll and thing clap, something fall and kill them, drop them dead right there. Calling the Lord name in vain and they're preaching also hypocrites. They're going to kneel down and say they're praying. One of them is a bishop. He claimed to be a bishop. I'm still to find out if it's a chessboard bishop or if it's a religious bishop. Two of them. One of the police service commission, one in government. They say them is bishops. I know yet if it's a chessboard bishop, because there's a chess piece on the chessboard. It looked like more them a chess bishop than them a real religious bishop. People there condoning and are complicit in all of these wrongdoings, and then they tell people how they are religious and they are a man of God. The one of them who say he religious call himself bishop. I remember the story when he did running behind the police officer wife and he might end up in court. Tickle me. Let me tell the people them the story. Tickle me. I remember it's Mosik Nakamutu, they expose you in the court and then you run out and you call me to complain. I remember them story good. Me get good memory. Up to the other day, my son complimented me on my memory. He said, Pops, you remember all them things, people number and all. Yeah, I get good memory. Thank the Lord for that. Let me bring in CC for the closing. And then let me closing remarks. CC, my brother, we have been over 1.5 hours. Any closing remarks from you?
Yeah. One just come to mind, what is the role of the commanders in relation to criminal matters and handling files? And for the matter, the police force really lacks good commander, apart from, and I can say so without fear of contradiction, apart from 4A, Simon McBean, Assistant Commissioner, and Region 5, Courtly, Simon. They don't have any commanders who I call commanders who could handle the file and who could turn back matters. That if you see that sometimes as commander you have to challenge the status quo, the DPP is in the right all the time. And also you see Mandel more writing nonsense. Yeah, you need to deal with it as a commander. And I think the crime chief is an attorney at law. He didn't read the Sexual Offences Act. He didn't read and see a Mandel more saying is unlawful and that he ain't get no authority. And it's saying it's high time the commander was able to write properly in files, and if you don't agree on it, make your comments be known. I always remember when I was Commander C Division, and I talked about it before, but I'm going to talk again. There was an accident happening in Twilight where a senior officer struck down a female and she died. And the only eyewitness was the officer. And he was breathalyzed. He wasn't under the influence of liquor. Proper investigation done. And there's no evidence there to show that he was culpable. And remember this traffic sergeant from Sparnham who investigated the matter say, hey, he recommended an inquest. The traffic chief in C Division recommended an inquest. The crime man in C Division recommended an inquest. I recommended an inquest. The traffic chief said inquest. Henry Green was the crime chief. Henry Green said inquest. And when it went to the DPP, there was a lawyer who just I think came out from law school, wrote one sentence, charge the driver with causing death by dangerous driving. Normally the DPP advisor would comment on certain things and then give the advice. But one sentence, charge the driver with causing death by dangerous driving. The files somehow came back to me. And I wasn't in agreement with the decision that came from the office of the DPP. I remember Winston Felix was the commissioner of police, and I called him, and he said, hey, put down your comments and send it to me. Put down the comments and send it to me, and then all of a sudden the file came back from the DPP and say it recommended an inquest that we saying all the time. And there are several instances, Paul, where you also know that you didn't agree with certain advice that you get, and you commented on it, and persons would see what you're saying is the correct thing and change it. I had several instances, especially in Borbies, where magic used to happen, and then get advice from the DPP to proceed, and then when I put comments on and thing, the DPP changed the thing. So the thing is that the commanders them and more so the head of the CID must be able to deal with matters and must able to say, hey, this advice that you're giving me, I don't think this is correct, and put down your comments. And whether the DPP agree or not is that you have clear your contents in the matter. But we don't have commanders. Our commanders right now for advice, for advice, for advice. Two words are no good. For advice, for advice. So they're not commenting, they're not explaining the situation. And they like conveyor belts, sending up and sending down files. I think it's high time they start to get down and make sure that proper investigation is done. And if they don't agree with certain advice, make your views known. And if they agree or disagree with you, well, that's the end of it.
Well, see, I agree with you, but many of them can't do that because they don't have the knowledge. That is the problem. The knowledge is not there. I say to many of them don't read those files. Many of them, I know that. They don't read the file, come as you say, they just send it for legal advice. In my day as a commander, and I'm bragging and boasting, I don't want to be braggadocious, but the thing is, when files came to me, I read them. I read the statements, not only the reports. And they would tell you, when I've been in A division in particular, I stopped dealing with files during the regular working hours. Because during the regular working hours, you're so busy, telephone ringing, you got to deal with this matter, you can't concentrate and read on the files. I used to wait on the evenings or come back at weekends and deal with those files. And in many cases, when you read the file, there's no need to send it any further. There is no need. You can give direction for them to proceed and charge. But then you have to know the elements, because if the elements have been established, not only in the report, let me tell you all this. When you're looking for elements for a charge, you just can't read the report to determine about whether they have it. You have to get the statement. You have to know which one of the witnesses has brought out a particular element in the charge. You have to read the statements, not only the report, because some of the reports, some of these civilers write nice reports, but then when you look at the statements, there is no statement to support the findings in the report, so therefore you can't go ahead. I used to turn them back. Get statement from this body, get a part of statement from this person, or proceed and charge. And let me tell you all too, especially in summary matters, I learned this the rough way as a young commander at West Demerara. In summary matters, where you have to institute a charge within 6 months, not 6 months, yeah. You always have to look to see when the offense was committed, when the file came to you. You have to look to see what date the offense was committed. I tell you this because what has happened, some of these people who are corrupt, they delay the file, they make all sorts of things, then they send it to you perhaps in the 5th month. And then by the time it goes to the DPP, the statutory period, the statute of limitation is up and you can't charge. So I used to look, first thing, what is the date of the offense? And if the date of the offense was a date long ago, I used to tell them charge, institute this charge, and then send the file back for legal advice. So legal advice is sought after the charge has been filed. In that case, you can either rest the one alongside the die, institute the next charge based on what is advised by the DPP. You have options. So these are things that the commanders have to know, but nobody is teaching them these things. Nobody is teaching them. So we got to understand how it goes. And I know they listen, and therefore we take this opportunity to pass on information to them. But your crime files, if you have a decision like A division in particular, which is region 4A now, you can't be dealing with files during the course of the day. Because what they used to do, they want to cock you, so they come to you. I'm talking about the detective officers. They never risk it with me because they knew me. They would come and say, Chief, this thing got to go to the DPP. The crime chief say you want this thing right away. So they're forcing you to just send it down without reading. I said, no. No, sir. You can go. If you want it, go come back within an hour. I'm going to take my time. Maybe I'm going to stop answering the phone. I'm going to go through it to make sure. I ain't sending no file. My fake signature is not on any file going to no crime chief, no matter how urgent the thing might be. No. I have got to read it. I have got to read it and see what the file says and make my comments on the file. So this is for advice for the commanders. As I agree with CC, there are many commanders. They're not chained. They are pitchfork into those positions. And once they're there, they don't have anybody to mentor. They don't have mentors and so on. Because even though they will tell you, oh, they learn so much from slow and calm, they're frightened for call for advice when the time comes. They're frightened for, well, look, reach out and say, look, I'm confronted with this matter. How do I deal with it? And that is how I learned. Because when I was in the system, you had a lot of senior people. When I became a commander, Derek Thompson, Sultan Qasim, and all of those people were there. And to advise you how to deal with matter. You pick up the phone, you call, say, sir, I'll get so matter. They either tell you, come, let me see it, or they advise you how to go. And you learn that way. But who don't call now? They call Mandel Moore. Mandel Moore, as we have seen here, he himself, you know what's going on. Who they're going to call. And now you have this dangerous rivalry among some of the senior ones. Even if they know, they're going to tell you. They're more likely to mislead you if you ask them. They're most likely to mislead you and tell you the wrong thing because they want to show you up. Sagi said the file should be read by the subdivision officer. Look and see who you have as subdivision officers now. They read to, you got to read when you read a file. It's not just to say you read the file. It's to read and to identify whether the elements are there or not there and to make an pronouncement accordingly. But then when we get our subdivision officer, you got a man who's the head of a branch, who's a cadet officer. If something happens there, what he could do? What advice can he give? He doesn't even know the work yet. He's a cadet officer with perhaps 3 or 4 years service, if so, if that long. And he's a branch commander. So understand what the situation that they have. Understand. No, well, that's a reading Wardy. Wardy, you can only apply for AGA if it's 6 months past, if it's a hybrid charge. In other words, if it's a either or, they say. I'll be teaching you. There are some matters that are purely summary. For example, indecent language, common assault, right? Might be purely a summary charge. And therefore, if you don't institute the charge within the statutory period, it's done. You can't do anything more. If, however, the charge is an hybrid charge, meaning that it is catered for under the Criminal Offences Act, Chapter 801, as well as the Summary Jurisdiction Act 802, you can then institute it indictably and apply for the administrator of justice and dispose of it summarily. It has to be a hybrid charge for you to do that. Right, so Wardy? I understand that. So they got to know that. But if it is a purely summary charge, then you can't do that. The matter done if you don't file it within the statutory period. Right? So, yeah. So, folks, I did not plan to go on this long this morning. Spoil your holiday, I guess. Some people say they're happy that this holiday they get enough time to throw back and to listen. And it has been a pleasure to come to clarify these things. Too many things are going on and people are silent. We are not going to be silent. We'll continue to speak. And when we speak, like the countryman said, when we speak, we spoke. And when we speak, we dare them to challenge whatever we are saying. So Mandel Moore can come with a statement from the public propaganda unit to say Slow and Conway wrong. He has the authority to say insufficient evidence. Hey, come. And when you come, don't just tell us that. Quote which law gives you that authority. So let me understand. We take pleasure in coming here and teaching. And again, I say, the object is not necessarily to embarrass anyone, but to bring the information out. You might not be comfortable with the manner in which the information is passed, but listen to the information, forget the messengers. Listen to the message and forget about the messengers. So let me understand this. We are going to continue to come, and I am looking anxiously to see what will be the development in this matter, with this second matter, with Nigel, well, the second rape matter, because you had other matters before, gun matter and all this other thing. We are looking to see what is going to be the development in this matter. Are we going to come? Are we going to analyze? Are we going to tell you what is going on? So, folks, again, I say, enjoy today's holiday, independence. Enjoy your independence holiday. For those of you who are in the US, your Memorial Day, enjoy the unofficial beginning of summer. For those of you in the UK, I understand it's a holiday there too. Enjoy your holiday. And I say, God's willing, we are going to be here on Wednesday. That's the day after tomorrow, to bring you another episode of Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. Until then, stay well and bye.